So I'm gonna call you H-Town's own since you're from A-Leaf. A-Leaf Taylor in the building. What's up, Martellus?
Nothing much, man.
Man, I'm excited. Appreciate you joining me today. Martellus been a Super Bowl champion, NFL superstar. You've done so many things, not only in the league, but you've done so many things in your community. And I'm excited about the brand new book you have entitled Dear Black Boy. And you're bringing your tour to Houston. It's in town today, and you're doing some great things. First of all, tell us about your passion and desire, not only for the city of Houston, but your motivation behind doing Dear Black Boy.
Well, the whole idea is like growing up, a lot of kids of color, they feel like they have to, the world just rolls them a ball and says good luck, you know, and I think, and everyone wants to grow up and be an athlete, and that's fine, but at the same time, it's like these other possibilities, other opportunities that they never really set their sights on. Only 1% of the kids will make it to the league. I'm not saying that sports are a bad thing, but I'm saying what's next? What now? Once the game clock is over, what's your plan? Because the average career is 3.5 years, but the average lifespan is 75 years. Right. So if that's a small blip of your life, so I'm trying to help kids to prepare, or even prepare for what's next. And this book is really about the idea of preparing for what freedom is. Like, we still are trying to make it. We still try to change the landscape of our tomorrows, and the kids are our future. So I think I'm trying to help groom more kids of color to be the creators, to as storytellers, to tell more stories of kids that look like us.
I know dealing with it, especially coming from the inner city, you know, a lot of us, and I know you're from A-Leaf, I grew up in Southside, so Sunnyside, so we both had, you know, this challenge of growing up in the inner city, dealing with the problems and the issues, and we faced not only from the police standpoint of dealing with some cops, good and bad, that brought a lot of issues in our community. It felt like we were behind the 8 ball, but like you said, so many people have sports dreams, but at the same time, I think we need to focus ourselves on understanding how we can be entrepreneurs, how we can take not only these gifts and talents and do some more awesome things like you've done, as well as your brother.
Yeah, I don't think that, for me, I don't want the kids to look at it. I don't think they need another athlete.
Yeah.
Right? They have enough inspiration for athletes. They need more inspirations in tech, more inspirations, you know, and as authors or creators, film directors, and all these other avenues, doctors, and they need to see more people who look like them in those fields. And it's really hard because when the NFL draft is going to come up, it's going to be on TV, everyone's going to talk about it, and you're going to see so many people who share the same story as you. They come from the circumstances of the neighborhoods that we come from, and they made it. So it feels like it's feasible. But you got a better chance of becoming a doctor than you have of becoming a professional athlete. You know, so can I introduce them to the possibilities and the other opportunities that are out there? And I don't want to show them, I want to tell them. So when I built my company, not only do I write books for children of color, but when they peel back the pages and tear back the layers, they see that the person behind it looks just like them, talks just like them, and come from where they come from.
A lot of people don't see the importance or even the value, man, of being an author. I mean, that goes a long way. You can literally change the path of your success or your life just by writing books. And a lot of people don't think, well, my experience is not really necessary. I don't feel I have enough information to put on paper. What do you say to somebody who's going through a lot of life experiences but doesn't see the value of putting it on paper?
For me, like, one thing I see is that to be a writer, you need to be a reader, right? And a lot of young black boys don't read. 76% of black boys aren't up to grade level reading at about a fourth grade, and that's a big problem, because when those kids, like, at probably like 1 out of 3 of those kids will drop out, and 1 out of 3 every black boy right now goes to jail. Right. And then when they build prisons, the way they decide how many prisons to build in the private prison system is by how many kids that aren't reading by grade level. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so like, and you look back, if 76% of our kids aren't reading by grade level by the 4th grade, then 76% of the prisons they build are for our kids. Yeah. So I think reading is super important, but then you have to give kids something to read where they can relate to and they can see themselves in it. So I gotta get kids to fall in love with reading so that they could become the authors and they could create more content so they can see themselves represented in the stories that they choose to read.
Yeah. What would you give, what some advice would you give to parents, especially raising young African-American boys? Because I know a lot of the inspiration behind this book is dealing with the death of Philandro and, of course, Alton Sterling. So you have a lot of times parents are in fear of raising African-American men. What would you say to parents, or what tips would you give to them on doing it successfully?
I think the one thing that I always look at, like, as for black boys, we always try to teach them how to survive, right? We're always thinking about survival at a young age, and they should, instead of thinking of surviving, we should get their mindsets to think about thriving. Right? So how can we prepare them for success? They can be successful in all these things, and when you look at the black boy, don't just see the athlete, see the dreamer, see what they can be, and see the full potential. The worst thing that happens is a kid that actually, like, first thing they ask a black kid is like, what sport does he play?
Yeah.
Right?
Number one off the top.
Off the top, they don't ask like, oh, what is he interested in? What does he like to do? Is he in band? He does music. I think a lot of kids want to do, like they want to rap, but they never think about scoring films.
Right.
Right? And they so musically inclined, they could do both, but no one ever introduced them to that side of music.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing about parents is introducing them to possibilities by showing them, taking them to a musical, taking them to just add a little culture to them so they can see what else is out there for them.
Yeah, I remember I was challenged as a young man growing up in Sunnyside. An older guy came up to me and he said, you got to think in terms of the Garden of Eden. He used the illustration. He said there are 4 rivers that feed the garden. He said you have to have 4 streams of income or 4 things that you're working on to feed the garden of your life. And it helped me to go, just what you were saying a second ago, not so much focusing on sports, but what other gifts and talents that you have that you can use to make an impact in this world, because we get so focused just on trying to be athletes.
Yeah, I think it's tough though as a kid though, because you want to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And we celebrate the athlete in our community. Where the athlete at the barbershop, you talking about it, you talk about the game. Yeah. Everyone comes to see the game, but like some kids don't feel supported in other areas. And then there's like this thing in society where a lot of kids who may not be interested in sports, we look at them and they feel like they're not as black as the other kids.
Yeah.
But you're just as black. You just have a different interest. And comic books are just as reading comic books is just as good as reading for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
There's that doesn't make you less black if you love art and you love these things and you're not into football or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I remember this couple of years ago, my high school, they had the first day, when everybody comes back to school, so they had the students marching in and they put the athletes first. They marched in first, and then you have the honor roll students. They were at the back of the line, but they didn't get as celebrated as they should, because we're like, well, what do you do? Because they put the athletes up first, and it's like, why are we celebrating just the athletes? Let's celebrate the scholars. Let's make them both. You don't want to just celebrate somebody who's just playing sports and forget about the honor roll student.
Yeah, because as an athlete, I was lucky enough to be, I worked hard enough to be an honor roll student and a really good athlete. Yeah. So for me, I feel like there's a blend, because then like the smart athlete, he doesn't want to be as smart because he's kind of, he's like, I want to be with my boys up there, but now that I'm an honor roll guy, I'm back here, you know what I'm saying? So and we just highlight the athletes so much, we don't highlight the other things in these kids' life, man. Like the symphonies. Like I grew up playing in a band, in a symphony and all these different things. It's like these kids are magical, right? They're incredible, and I think the world is such a better place when a black boy dreams big. And dreams bigger than we had allowed them dream. So it's like giving the kids the space to be who they are without the fear of being judged is what we have to do as a community, as peers, as parents, as friends.
Man, well said. Dear Black Boy, I'm loving this big book tour that is taking place. Martellus Bennett, H-Town Zone from A-Leaf. Of course, we were both part of one of the same ministries, The Bridge, with Dr. Greg Patrick. I got to give him a shout out as well. Patrick. But how can everybody keep up with you, man, and get more tour information?
You can follow at Dear Black Boy on Instagram or Facebook, or you can follow the Imagination Agency, which is the name of my company. But we're at the forefront of telling stories for kids of color, where there's books, apps, movies and films, or you can just follow me at Martellus B.
I want you to get the book. Get the book. It's an inspiration to young black boys. Get the book, parents, today, and follow it. Man, it's good to see you and meet you. And if you get another Super Bowl ring, make sure it's with the Texans.